Hi friends, shall we take another fun trip through Korean history today? Today, in the 6th episode of Infinite Korean History, we'll learn about King Beopheung of Silla, the king who built a land of Buddhism and the Bone rank system. In the early Three Kingdoms period, Silla was the least prominent among the three. The king who remarkably developed Silla was King Beopheung. Shall we begin the story of the new Silla created by King Beopheung? Imagine this. How would you feel if you were stuck in a place that was completely closed off on all sides? You wouldn't know how the world was turning because you couldn't see your surroundings. It would be very frustrating. There's a saying, a frog in a well, used for this kind of situation. Although a frog trapped in a well might be safe, it will never know the vast world and will eventually die lonely inside that small well. Silla was like that frog in a well for a long time because it was located in the southeastern part of the Korean peninsula. While it was relatively safe due to the mountains and seas nearby, it lacked active exchange with other countries. Specifically, Silla had no opportunity to directly receive advanced culture from China.
I'm off to China now.
Baekje, we love you.
As I thought, cultural exchange is the key.
I feel like I'm being completely left out.
Thus, Silla was the slowest to develop among the three kingdoms. Weak Silla didn't know what to do when invaded by neighboring countries. In particular, the Wa pirates, who invaded as frequently as people eat meals, were the biggest headache. Once something like this even happened, Baekje and Wa joined forces to attack Silla. Silla was on the brink of collapse. In desperation, Silla requested help from Goguryeo. The king of Goguryeo at that time was the famous Hwanggaeto the Great. Only with his help was Silla able to barely survive. But there was a price to pay. Silla had to promise loyalty to Goguryeo and endure long-term interference.
Don't worry, I'll protect you. In return, just do as I say.
Hwanggaeto the Great, of course we will.
As Goguryeo interference continued for a long time, Silla vowed again and again to build up its own strength. Eventually, the king of Goguryeo changed from Hwanggaeto to his son, King Jangsu. King Jangsu attacked Baekje and took over the entire Han River basin.
Shall I just gobble those guys up too?
Our only way to survive is to join forces.
Fearing destruction, Baekje and Silla decided to hold hands and stand against Goguryeo. This is called the Naje Alliance. While things were still unstable, fortunately, no more wars broke out. The first story of King Beopheung. The king. For a long time, Silla had a unique system where several tribes took turns leading the country as representatives without a proper king. At least until King Jijeung appeared. What kind of person was King Jijeung?
Physical strength is national strength. I'll do anything for the development of our country.
Silla made immense efforts to become strong on its own. Although late, they tried everything to actively embrace advanced Chinese culture. Above all, they desperately needed a powerful king to firmly establish the nation's foundation. Finally, such a king appeared in Silla. He was the 22nd king of Silla, King Jijeung.
Silla's movements are unusual.
As soon as he ascended the throne, King Jijeung decided to adopt the title King Wang in Korean from advanced Chinese culture. Goguryeo and Baekje had already been using it for a long time. However, because Silla had been led by 6 tribes rotating leadership, they hadn't used the title. King Jijeung believed that to rule the country strongly, he first needed a title that symbolized powerful authority.
From now on, call me Wang.
While he was at it, King Jijeung also changed the name of the country. The name Silla that we know today was used starting from his reign.
Did you hear the country's name changed from Sorabal to Silla?
Yes, I heard the name Silla means the king's achievements grow newer every day and spread in all 4 directions.
King Jijeung also began to reform the entire country piece by piece. First, he selected officials he could trust and sent them to the provinces so that the king's commands could be followed. As a result, the king's orders began to be delivered well across the whole nation.
It's a long journey, but it's the king's command, so I cannot be careless.
King Jijeung also worked on expanding the territory. A representative achievement was the conquest of Usangguk in the year 512. In the East Sea, during the Three Kingdoms period, there was a small country called Usangguk. This country was located on what is now Ulleungdo Island. King Jijeung wanted to conquer this place, but he couldn't easily succeed due to the rough waves of the East Sea and the fierce islanders.
How dare you try to enter here?
It would be great to conquer Usangguk. How should I do it?
While looking for an opportunity, King Jijeung called Isabu, a brilliant general from the royal family. He ordered him to conquer Usangguk. General Isabu had to think deeply about how to succeed in this conquest. Then, a great trick came to his mind. What was it?
Aha, yes, this will work.
It was using lions made of wood. Why was this a good trick? Originally, there were no lions in Korean peninsula. The lion was an animal introduced from abroad along with Buddhism. Silla people had never seen one in person and only knew about them roughly through writings and drawings. Thus, they thought of lions as mysterious and terrifying animals. After braving the rough sea and arriving before Usangguk, General Isabu threatened the people. He told them that if they didn't surrender, he would immediately release the fierce beasts on the ship. Seeing the terrifying beasts for the first time, the frightened residents of Usangguk truly surrendered to General Isabu.
Surrender now, or I'll release these fierce beasts.
Well, what is that terrifying thing? We're all going to die.
Isn't that an interesting story? This was the first moment in our history that Ulleungdo and Dokdo came under Silla's rule. This is when Dokdo first became our land. Later, General Isabu became famous as a great general who conquered the neighboring states of Kumgangaya and Taegaya. King Jijeung did even more. He believed it was important for the people to eat well and live well. So he actively adopted farming techniques from China and Baekje. One of them was ugyong. Ugyong refers to a farming method using oxen to pull plows. With the power of an ox, the ground can be dug deeper, making farming more successful. Naturally, the people's livelihoods improved as they harvested more grain than before.
Farming with an ox is so convenient. Why didn't I know this sooner?
As people's lives improved, commerce also developed. During King Jijeung's reign, a large market called Dongsi East Market was established in the capital, Gyeongju. It was on a scale never seen before. There, commoners mainly bought grain, hemp cloth, and farming tools, while nobles bought fancy silks, ornaments, and ceramics brought from other countries.
Buy ornaments and silk just brought in from China.
The people's lives have improved remarkably.
In this way, King Jijeung laid a great foundation for Silla's development. It allows his son, King Beopheung, to lead the nation brilliantly. Now listen carefully as King Beopheung's story begins. The second story of King Beopheung. The bone rank system. You might have heard that meat has grades, like first class or second class. But have you ever heard that bones have grades? In Silla, the grade of one's bones was considered very important. What on earth does this mean?
You must strictly follow the rank I have assigned you based on your birth.
Is 6 Tupum a good rank or a bad one?
King Beopheung is famous for making Silla a solid nation like Goguryeo and Baekje. For a nation's golden age to begin, the people must unite around the king and build strength. The king who accomplished all of this was King Beopheung. Around the time King Beopheung ascended the throne, Goguryeo was in disarray due to power struggles among nobles.
Stop fighting. What's wrong with everyone?
Baekje was also rebuilding its strength after being hit hard by Goguryeo.
Why is there so much damage to repair from Goguryeu's attack?
Thanks to this, Silla gained time to stabilize and build power without interference from its neighbors.
Everyone is distracted. This is the time to grow our strength quickly.
The first thing King Beopheung did was take direct control of the military. Even though he was king, the noble's power had been so strong that he couldn't move the army at will. So, King Beopheung created a military organization called Pyeongbu and ensured all troops followed the king's orders quickly. As a result, the king's power became noticeably stronger.
To have strong royal power, the military must be under me.
I'll get in trouble if I defy the king now. I must be careful.
King Beopheung also proclaimed the Yulyeong. Yulyeong is a combined term for Yul, laws for punishing crimes, and Yeong, administrative rules for running the country. He made this. In short, it is the basic law of the land. Creating this was very important for governing the nation. At that time, Shilla's laws differed by region, so the way crimes were punished was inconsistent. Thus, King Beopheung created the Yulyeong so that all people could live equally under a single law.
All citizens must follow the Yulyeong.
He also strictly separated social ranks so that nobles and officials could not easily defy the king. First, he divided government ranks into 17 levels and assigned colors for official robes according to rank. This allowed anyone to see a person's rank at a glance. Furthermore, King Beopheung finalized a social system unique to Silla, the bone rank system Golpumje. Golpum means bone rank, and one's social status was determined by who their parents were. It's determined by parents, not ability. Doesn't that feel a bit unfair? The bone rank system was largely divided into Songgol, sacred bone, Jinggul, true bone, and ranks from 6 tupum down to 1 tupum. Under this system, the law even predetermined who one could marry, the color of one's clothes, the size of one's house, the number of rooms, and even the height of one's walls. It's quite unbelievable, isn't it?
Only a Songgol can become king.
Songgol refers to those whose parents are both of royal blood.
If only one parent is of royal blood, you are Jinggul. We Jinggul are also royalty in a broad sense.
The highest rank a non-royal noble can reach is 6 tupum.
The bone rank system has too many restrictions. Even if I have money, I can't build a big house.
We are called nobles, but we don't have much influence.
In the bone rank system, those from 1 tupum to 3 tupum are basically seen as commoners.
In truth, King Beopheung didn't create this system overnight. As Silla grew and absorbed small surrounding nations, he reorganized the naturally occurring classes. Status from 6 tupum to 4 tupum was given based on the power of local leaders, and the original royal family of Silla living in Gyeongju became Songgol and Jinggul.
Since your tribe is large, I specially grant you the rank of 6 tupum.
Although it was an unequal system, royal power became very strong thanks to the bone rank system. It also helped establish order in the nation. However, there was a huge problem. Even if someone had outstanding talent, they couldn't dream of reaching a high position due to the limitations of their birth.
We've been different from birth.
What? A high position for someone with less talent than me? This makes no sense.
It's a world one can't even dream of. Let's just live without thinking about it.
This dissatisfaction with the bone rank system later became a major reason for Shilla's downfall. Most importantly, the bone rank system remained until the very moment Silla fell. So please remember it, as it is essential for understanding history of Silla. Well, the first part about King Beopheung is already over. Shall we quickly review what we learned? We saw how Silla, once the weakest among the three kingdoms, gradually developed, right? King Jijeung was at the center of it, followed by King Beopheung. Please remember the story of Ulleungdo and Tokdo, which appeared for the first time in our history. Also, don't forget the bone rank system, where status is determined by one's parents. There are still many interesting stories about King Beopheung left. I'll see you in the next part. Bye.